raise your children the way we do. I mean, a 9-year-old boy in Gaza is more of a man than a 25-year-old in America. You prolong adolescence to an absurd degree. You don't prioritize maturity. But at the same time, you sexualize your children very early. I mean, you've got like third graders twerking, and singing explicit song lyrics, and then you put that on social media for everyone to see. You're teaching kindergartners about sex, masturbation, about homosexuality and transgenderism. You think that prepubescent children can decide to have their genitals removed before they even know what they're actually for. You put little girls in beauty contests and try to turn them into, miniature Beyoncés and Cardi B's singing about WAP. 12% of 12-year-olds in the U.S. are already sexually active at 12. And that's from a study 10 years ago. So you can expect that the percentage is even higher now. 6.5% of them had actually already engaged in anal sex by the age of 12. The majority of sex offenders in the West victimize children. And they say about 90% of sexual assaults on children are never even reported. So imagine what the real numbers are. No, you have a pedophilia problem in the West. And no matter how much you wish you could, you can't shift that over to us. We're not going to help you justify your sickness. Islam does not approve of this.
All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Ka Halayim La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Harikak Wadash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and my elder One as well. Salutations to the Arkham that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right. I'm Kanaksa Amban Yasharala from the Lions and the Yasharala camp. And as you can see from the beginning clip, what this message in this epistle or this lesson is about. And it's the art of war. It's a provocation of war. How they demasculinize and feminize our men and masculinize our women, and they pretty much raise our children to become like worthless. And that's the help from the Jake woman too, because all in all, for the past 50 years, since they took the so-called black men out of the household, these women have been raising their children. And this is a product of that. You're seeing what you're seeing the state of a nation when the men are not allowed to be involved in the house. Now, with that being said, they'll try to point the finger at the man. Will say the man just walked away. No, not necessarily. That's not in law. That's not in all cases. I can't even say that's in most cases, because you have really bitter women that make it next to impossible for a man to be involved with his children. They have to fight to be involved with the children. B, you have women that rather get assistance from the state, and sometimes that's necessary. So not necessarily saying that so sometimes that's necessary that they receive message. It's hard out here, man. But these women was given a certain amount of power to where, like, it could be a situation like, baby, I'm gonna get this money. We gonna get this, that, and the third. And I'm gonna hide you over here. You know what I'm saying? There's so many ways to get around that, but you have a lot of these women that use that for their advantage to claim that independence, talking about they don't need that man. You just transferred the man from Jacob to Esau. So now you rather be sustained by the systems put in place by Esau, then you know what I'm saying, and you rather fall back on that. And this is the product of all that. It sucks because it's a deliberate attack on our children, man. Because if they destroy the minds of our children, then the adults, when they grow up into being adults, they ain't gonna be worth a damn. Just the point that the dude was making in the beginning of the clip. Like they said, we prolong adolescence, and initially we do. I remember growing up at the age of 8, 9 years old. You're either out there in the field, or if you're a little boy, or you're in that kitchen if you're a woman, if you're a little girl, and that's exactly how it was. We wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. By the time we wake up 5:30 in the morning, the women will have breakfast already cooked, and we'll go out there in the field, tend to the crops or tend to the cattle, and by the time we come in back in about 11 or 12, the women and girls had lunch. Go right back out in the field. By the time we come back in at 5 or 6, dinner would be done. And we sit by the bonfire, tell stories and shit, and go to fuck to bed. That's how it was. It wasn't until I moved to the city that I started seeing all these diverse things, and like kids that didn't do shit, that slept all day. That was I wasn't growing up. I wasn't really used to that until we moved to the city, and we started to. Even when I moved to the city, I still had to go back and forth to the country during the summer. So my outlook was a little bit different from your average child, growing up. Even when we moved to the city, my dad didn't let me sleep all day. You get your ass up at 7. I don't care what you do, but you're not gonna lay in the bed all day. And that's something that I still do. I cannot sleep all day. I can't lay in the bed and sleep all day. My body naturally wakes up around 6:30, 7 o'clock, no matter what time I go to sleep. Um, so it's just the mindset of our people, man, and how these children are being raised by the system, and and this is a product of that. And I want to bring a couple scriptures out, going into this, man, because it's a curse on our people, and we're supposed to teach the ways of our children, man, not this system, not sending them to a schoolhouse so you can get a job, a good enough job to spend less time with your children. If you have the opportunity to homeschool your children, by all means, I would say do that, because you can teach them your morals and your values, all right, and train them up in the way they should go. According to the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. First scripture I want to get is Second Ezra chapter 5 verse 8. It says, "There shall be confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out." Right. It's judgment being sent out. Right. And there's going to be confusion everywhere. Who's spreading that confusion? Esau. Right. And our people, 2/3 of our people are partaking in that. It says, "And the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters," man. That's how these children today. That's what they are, monsters, man. They 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 half of them are got a broke wrist. You know, they're a bundle of sticks, if you know what that means, and you know they ain't good for nothing. Um, if they ain't turning towards the same gender for affection, they're killing one another. It's just like, you know when people talk about that movie, they clone Tyrone. They all want to think about. "Oh, I told you they're cloning people." They're not fucking cloning people, man. They're cloning behavioral patterns. They're teaching our children to come up in their ways, right? So when they become an adult, they won't be worth the shit, and that crumbles us out of as a nation. It changes our whole mindset as a nation. So now you have these mistress women bringing forth monsters, right? And what are those children going to bring forth? More monsters, if they even try to reproduce, because like I said, they're turning towards one another for affection. And this is deliberately done to our communities, man. This ain't no everybody like they should be able to do what they want. No, that's just a deliberate attack on our nation, man. And you heard what that dude said, like you can't bring that. He said you don't try to justify your sickness over here, because it is a sickness, man. Esau's a sick, twisted individual, man. And 2/3 of our people don't even want to call his ass out on that shit. It's ridiculous. So now you got all these monsters calling themselves children, right? But you know, you look at a child and you think of innocence. There's nothing innocent about these wicked things that are being brought into earth nowadays, man. Goddamn, man. All they're doing is wearing skinny jeans and packing pistols and killing one another and on drugs or 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 rapping about killing or rapping about sexuality and things like that. There's no truth anymore, man. Only the men of the Lord are trying to bring forth truth, and everybody else is trying to suppress it. All right, let me get the book of Psalms. This is Psalms 127 and 3. It says, "Lo, children are inheritors of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward." Right. So a heritage from the Lord, man. What does that word heritage mean? Or it says a portion, inheritance portion, like a company estate or generally an estate of a portion heritage to inherit. All right. So now, pretty much in a sense, that's like saying your legacy, your heritage, your lineage. You know, your children put a stamp on that, right? And so our heritage looks like corruption and wickedness. So because our people have put on the covering of these other nations, so they are acting in the same manner as these other nations, and that goes back to Genesis when they put on fig leaves back with the Adamites. You know, when Eve was beguiled by the serpent, and that same beguiling is going on right now. It's going on right now, man. So with that being said, you know, our people are bringing forth monsters in the world, man. And you know, these women are so quick to point the finger at Jake, at the man, saying, "Oh, you ain't worth the shit," but you raised these children. So now you have a situation where a a a, a um a little boy is being raised to cater to a woman, right? And a little girl is being raised to not to be so-called independent and to feel like she doesn't need a man. That's an oxy fucking moron. If I haven't seen one, if I ever seen one, that is asinine. That makes no sense. The trend, and they're all being taught this by the same parent, the mother. The mother's teaching teaching her son to cater to women and put the woman on a pedestal, while she's teaching the same mother will teach the daughter to be independent and not need a man. How the fuck does that work? So now you have overly emotional men that are seeking affection from these women that are not going to get it from because they're trained not to even know how to cater to a man in any type of way at all. So they're told to turn the shoulder to the man and toot their note up to the man while the man is spending his time running behind the woman. That's why the Lord took our women away. Now it's going to get to the point where the women's going to realize they need us, you know. But the men of the Lord got to get in order first, you know. And then and then you know, once the men get in order, you know what I'm saying, then we start to bring forth righteous children in the kingdom. Or not even before we get the kingdom, right now, bringing forth righteous women, you know? All right, next scripture I want to get is Proverbs 22 and 6. And it says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and he shall, when he is old, he will not depart from it. And Esau knows this, man. That's why they try to that's why they attack our children. They put the bullshit in the minds of our children so they won't deviate from it when they get older. They'll still have that same bullshit on their mind, and they'll still conduct themselves in that type of way. Esau knows what the fuck he's doing. Our people are just too stupid to understand who the enemy is and how the enemy is attacking us. Let me get 3rd John. So we're supposed to train our children in righteousness, man. According to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. But we're in a system that tells us to send our children to school, let Esau raise them. Just think about it. Think about it. Wake up in the morning, you go to work, right? They spend 8 hours a day at work. We spend 8 hours a day at work. They spend 8 hours a day at school. Now, that's not even now we're gonna map this out. Come home, right? That's 8 hours gone out of a 24-hour day. So you got 16 hours left, right? You come home. Wait, no, let's do this. First, you sleep for 8. Let's just say 8. You're supposed to sleep for 8 hours, right? Boom. That's 16 hours gone out of the day. Out of a 24-hour day, you have 8 hours left, and you're gonna do at least an hour to 2 hours of transit time a day. At least an hour or 2 hours, right? Now, what do you got to do next? Kids got to do their homework. Parents got to cook dinner. The house is probably out of order, so somebody got to clean up. You know. So with that being said, that takes away all your time. So where's the time been spending quality time with the children? What, at the dinner table when you eat for about an hour, or at bedtime? So you spend a fraction of your time with one of the most important things of your life, and that's your legacy, your heritage, your children. You spend the majority of your time, right? You spend a third of your time at a job or at a school, being trained up in this system, or being locked down or being oppressed to this system. You spend a third of your life, a third of your day. You get what I'm saying? So this system was put together to keep our mind on off of what's important the most, off Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, off of our family. Because if you're spending all your time at a job, well, how can you instill your family values? That's something that you have to constantly do over and over. That's why they spend 8 hours at the school, because it takes all that time in order to train up a child properly. So that time should be spent at the house. We live on a rock. I'll say it again. We live on a rock that supplies us everything that we need to sustain life. But we go to a job, right, to live paycheck to paycheck and not even be able to get the things, the necessities that we need in life. That's straight up oppression. And there's no other way to look at it. And it's called destructuring and devaluing a nation of people. And this devil is so diabolical. As long as he gets us and keeps us in that state, it doesn't matter if he does it to his own people. Because you got Esau that's caught up, some Edomites that are caught up in this system too. But the main thing is to keep Jake down. So we're supposed to train up a child in the way he should go. And when he gets old, he will not depart from it, man. So let me get 3 John chapter 1, verse 4. And it says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Right? Now that's talking about the ones in the truth, right? But that's for our nation of children too, man. There's no greater joy to see our children that we raise to come up in the truth, man. and to understand the truth. There's no greater joy than that. We get Proverbs 1. I have no greater joy than to see my children raised up in the truth, man. There's what that and that's the joy of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Us being those children. In Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8, it says, My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. That's talking about the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and talking about Yahweh being our father. All right, it says, For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. All right. So now, and that's what that'll be. That's how we're decorated, and that's how the men are decorated, and how the women are adorned. Understanding the instruction of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai and following and abiding by them. That's how you beautify yourself. That's how you beautify a nation. The specific laws, statutes, and commandments are order of setup created by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, which we disrupted with sin and transgression and disobedience. So now we're in a position to where, like, we're falling from our grace, our heavenly state, because we turned our back on our power and chose the things that he delighteth not. Let me get Proverbs 29 and 17. This is Proverbs 29 and 17, and it reads, Correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yea, he shall give delight unto thy soul, man. And that's why, I've been told I be a little bit too hard on my children sometimes, but the reason why I'm hard on them like that, because I know how fucked up this world is. And I know I'm not going to be here forever. But I want to leave something with them that could be helpful to them in this dark, sick, twisted place that we in called the earth, or the setup, the Esau's world, because the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Not only did he cover the faces of the judges, he covered the face of true judgment. So now he's turned evil to good and good to evil. He's put light for darkness and darkness for light. So we have to make sure that we are on our children's butt, man. Because if you're slacking off that means you don't care. And let me get it. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 29. It says, "Oh, that there were such an heart in them that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever." Let me start at 27. It says, "Go thou near and hear all that the Lord our power shall say, and speak thou unto us all that the Lord Yahweh Shemashah our power shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it." Right, as we're supposed to hear the words of Yahweh Shemashah and do them and teach them to our children. Verse 28, it says, "And the Lord heard the voice of your words when ye spake unto me, and the Lord said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said that they have well said all that they have spoken." Right, because that's when we said all the things that Moses said unto us, we shall do them. "Oh, that there were such an heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, it might be well with them and with their children." See, that fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushua was lost by our people, and it was regained by the elect. The elect are going to fear the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Verse 29, again, it says, "Oh, that there was such an heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children. There's going to become a time where it's going to be such a heart in us, because Yahweh Shem is going to place that heart in us. Let me get Ephesians chapter 6, verse 6. Hold on. Actually, no, that's not the one I wanted to get. Slakia. Um, Basically, man, it's like, you see children doing disrespectful things at a young age and you laugh about it and think it's cute and it's funny, and then they grow up having that same pattern of behavior, and now you want to frown upon them. It's not their fault. That's the things that was allowed, you know, in the household. So the children don't know any better. You gotta nip that shit in the bud. You know, So we're supposed to train our children up in Yahweh by Shem Yahushua in righteousness. But there's gonna be one day we're not gonna have that problem, and all of our children are gonna be righteous, man. You know. All right, let me get Isaiah 60 and 21. Isaiah 60 and 21. And it reads, Thy people shall also be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. Right. It says, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one shall become a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in this time. Right. So now the laws, statutes, and commandments, right, um, are going to be put in our inward parts, and all of our children that come forth will no longer be born into sin. They'll be born into righteousness, man. And that is so beautiful. They will be born into righteousness, and all of our people shall be righteous. There won't be none of that funny behavior amongst our nation anymore, man. And that's a beautiful thing. And I'm going to close it out with Isaiah 54 and 13. And it reads, All thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. And that's so beautiful, man. That is so beautiful, man. We're going to be right there with the Lord, man. Let me read it again. It says, All thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. Our children are not in peace right now because they're being attacked daily by this devil, man. This devil is attacking our children every day, right? It says, In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee. And that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Kal halayim la Yahweh b'Shem Yahushai. You know, and the Lord's starting to do that now with the men of the Lord and their families. And so by the time the Lord shows up, He's going to gather His elect and the children that are meant to be gathered with them, man. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. and there will no longer be an attack on the mind of our children. All right, Lord willing, this lesson edified and served its purpose without a light. Say, Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Harikak Radash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and my elder Herawan as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.